Yes, sir. What's going on, man? It's your boy AB, and we back at it again with another episode, another installment of Open Gym Podcast here on Open Gym Network. Again, always brought to you by our new partner, SeatGeek. If you sign up right now, your first purchase on SeatGeek using my promo code only one AB underscore underscore, you get $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, the app for fans. Where do we start? You know what? Oh, let me do this too. Obviously, we back at it again. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Just help us, help you continue to bring great content, great information, great entertainment to you each and every week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay tapped in with everything we do here at Open Gym Network. Now that we got all the pleasantries out of the way, all the bills is paid for. Boy, oh boy, the Philadelphia Eagles. Y'all know who we here for, man. Loss to the Seattle Seahawks on a last drive, game-ending drive, essentially, game-sealing drive, essentially, by Drew Lock. Not Geno Smith, who was out this game, did not play, who was the starting quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, who are also missing an all-pro, a pro bowler, safety at Jamal Adams on the defensive side. Yes, the Eagles had some injuries as well. No Slay, who's had a minor knee surgery. No Cam Jurgens, who's our right guard, who's dealing with a pectoral injury. And one of our starting linebackers, and Zach Cunningham, did not play. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start here first. I'm going to get this out of the way, because this was the big story leading into the game, obviously. We all know going into this game, the Eagles made a coaching change. Even though he still has the title of defensive coordinator, DC, Sean Desai, who was the current defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, was moved up into the press box for this game, no longer calling plays, whatever, whatever. He's not calling plays anymore. He's not the DC anymore, essentially. They elevated Matt Patricia, who was an assistant, a defensive assistant on the team, who's been out of the way, who's been in the cut, who's been in the background, and they elevated him on game day to call plays for the defense. So, defense last night played with a little more energy. I seen some great things out of there from certain players who made some good plays, specifically the linebacker crew. Morrow flashed a bit, made a great tackle in the backfield, and met Kenneth Walker in the hole and stopped him on a third down. I believe it was a third or fourth down run. Great hit, great downhill running by him. He made it. He showed himself essentially. Zach Cunningham didn't play, so we had Shaq Leonard starting. Didn't really pop or anything, but he didn't get his name called for anything negative neither. The defensive line played with a little more energy, a little more swagger, a little more force. Still don't generate as much pressure as we need to, and we can't get into the narrative specifically last night saying that they were getting the ball out quick or anything like that, because they weren't. Their passes was 10 to 15 yards down the field as well. So the defensive line do concern me going forward, not getting enough pressure from the edges specifically. the interior linemen, they're interior linemen. If they get sacks, uh, that's a cherry on top, essentially. And Jalen Carter showed himself again why he's a number one pick. Made a great sack on Drew Lock that stopped and stalled the drive as well. Like I said, Slade didn't play, so you had a lot of young guys in the secondary that was playing more. Specifically, Kelly Ringo, who had got the start for Slade, who I believe had a fairly good game. Obviously, it wasn't against top talent quarterback throwing it, but still, having to be matched up with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and those boys. He had a solid game. He had a PBU, a pass breakup on DK Metcalf early in the game, which stalled another drive, and it was forced for them to only kick 3 points. So there were positives on the defensive side. From players, maybe it's because, a lot more younger, more athletic players was in the game. So it made it, look a little more decent and more serviceable, essentially. So granted, they won. It was 20-17 was the ending final. They won. The Seahawks won, and we held them to. So for the most part, the defense played fairly well, and I as far as what you've seen in the past couple weeks, but that was more so they actually played with energy. They actually played with force and attacking on the ball. But let's get to the negatives. I love him. Sidney Brown. Love what the force he plays with, the attitude he played with, the hitting mentality that he played with. But if Sidney Brown misses another tackle, this is the NFL. All that running into him, trying to pop in, pause, and just, lay someone out. First of all, you're only about 5'9", 5'10" anyway. And I love it, give me Bob Sanders vibes, but put the player on the ground. It was too many situations where he's coming up for a tackle, open field tackle. If you make that tackle, they're punting. Then a third and long, which makes it harder. And like I said, you have a backup quarterback in there, so it gives the defensive line their best opportunity to go after it, get them. So you had that. And for me, it was only two main causes for the defense, other than the defensive line not getting pressure. Sidney Brown missing tackles, and then we all know it was evident and it was there. I would never disrespect a player and call them trash because, first of all, they made it to the pros. Now, if you want to call them trash on the level of, who he's playing up against, that remains to be seen. But let's get to him. Bradberry. I'm not understanding. No, I do understand. I'm not going to say I'm not understanding. I do understand. He's on the other side of 30. He wasn't always as fast. It was more about technique and everything with him. But he continuously, and I don't want to say this, but he looks cooked. James Bradberry looks cooked. He cannot run with anyone. And it was evident on that last drive by Drew Lock, where I seen a stat. That last drive alone, first of all, 3 different players Bradberry guarded on that drive, and all 3 of them caught their passes. And I seen a stat that on that last drive by the Seahawks that won the game, James Bradberry by himself, literally by himself, gave up, I believe it said 92 yards. 92 yards. Like, I don't even know how that's possible. And this is the kicker. It's not like they were out there shaking him, even though we've seen that as well throughout this season. They literally, all 3 passes were just straight flies, straight run by, straight I just can't keep up with them, straight Lord help me. I can't believe it. Today is not a good day. It's not. I know I laugh, but I laugh to keep from damn near crying because it's like this is absolutely unequivocally an embarrassment by this team. And I've been saying it for the past couple weeks now. Even on previous episodes of this pod, I've been saying it. I understand the move from Sean Desai. I understand you want to shake things up, see what you can get. He had a chance. They were also saying, that he wasn't necessarily, Nick Sirianni's picks. It's going to be a whole lot of things that's going to be coming out, as the team is losing. Obviously, last week or a week before, the anonymous player reaching out to or responding to Derek Gunn about the offense. So you're going to hear things. So I understand you want to shake things in. So I'm not, and I had this discussion with some people, and originally once the news dropped about the Sean Desai being demoted and Matt Patricia being elevated to defensive play caller essentially and defensive coordinator essentially, I was just speaking about like, okay, that's not our issue. The defense is going to be who they're going to be this season. Because when it comes to the defense, it's not scheme, it's not schematically, it's not what's being drawn up or what's being called. Because I believe the plays and what's being called will work. The defense just does not have the personnel to be able to execute what's being called on a daily basis, on a game basis. Like I said, you want to go throughout the year, just not last night. Early on, the middle of the field has always been an issue from safety to linebacker. Not even counting the corners who's been playing subpar. Obviously, James Bradberry been playing atrociously this year. Slay not so much, but isn't wowing you either. Linebackers in and out shuffling. Dean in at one point starting. He gets hurt, comes back, gets hurt again. Morrow just not being the force in the attacker and the tackler that he needs to be. Zach Cunningham, who's been the most stable linebacker that we had. Now he's not in there. You bring in Shaq Barrett, who's only been here for two weeks now. Like I said, not special. Not being the old Shaq Leonard, Shaq Leonard of old with the Colts. Reed Blankenship, who's often injured in and out of the lineup, but is really just a good, nice safety. You go get Bayard, all-pro, captain, all these things. Understand that he's had a very good career in Tennessee, but 31, and not saying he can, he's still fairly fresh, but by now he's been there about a month at least, not showing you much. Had a solid game yesterday, very good yesterday, actually. So the middle field's always been an issue on this defense. It's personnel-based, people. It's personnel-based. We do not have the guys needed to be able to run this defense. That's plain and simple. It's not enough a scheme and play calling and coaching you can do when you just can't physically do it. That's why I said what I said last night, that having the young guys in there, again, against a lesser quarterback, I will put that there, but still they held up for the most part. Even seeing some Eli Ricks out there who held his own at times. And like I said, very impressed by Kelly Ringo last night. Very impressed by him. Very impressed by him. Showed the speed, showed the athleticism to keep up with a guy like DK Metcalf. Even though he's 6'5", 280 pounds, he still runs like a gazelle. And he's right there with him. But the defense is who they are going to be. Period. There's nothing you could change about that unless you're telling me you got someone coming in that's going to put a shock to the system. But we had just got done week 15, headed into week 16 with 3 games left and the playoffs right around the corner. The defense is not going to get any better. Can they play harder, play with a little more energy? Absolutely. And that will help some things. And yes, maybe with the new defensive coordinator calling plays schematically, I did see some things that I liked. A lot of press man on third down with the blitzes coming behind, the getting rid of the ball, pass breakup, stuff like that. So there were things there. I absolutely agree. But let's get into it. Because this is what people don't want to talk about when it comes to this Philadelphia Eagles team that's been there all year that I've been saying. Forget the defense, forget the defensive changes, forget the fact that we need to shake up the defense. The defense is going to be who they're going to be because the personnel is not up to par. This offense that this Philadelphia Eagles team has been putrid all freaking year. Even in the 10 wins that they won, everyone kept saying, when are they going to put that game together? When are they going to put that game together? We have great second halves throughout the year, comeback wins throughout the year, but still, even in those, didn't show any fluidity, didn't show any creativity, didn't show any, motions or jet sweeps or screen passes or check downs. And we're going to get into all that. It's the same old line up and go. And now it's biting us in the butt. Biting us in the butt. These last, I would even say just starting of this gauntlet in general, once we play better teams, starting even with the Chiefs. Even though we won the Chiefs game, even though we won the Bills game, the offense has not performed the way we needed them to perform. Yes, we made clutch plays. Let me get into the numbers. So overall, Jalen Hurts threw from 17 to 31 passes, threw for 143 yards, completed 54% of his passes. He had 13 carries for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. You would just looking at the numbers, you would say that's probably a solid day, especially if your quarterback is rushing for 2 touchdowns, going up against the Seattle Seahawks team, missing the star, their star safety, starting linebacker, and missing their starting quarterback. But we continue to go out on this field. And let me say this, early in the game, I love the way we was moving. First 15 plays, scripted plays, down the field. Touchdown. Swift was excellent when given the opportunities. 18 carries, 74 yards, 4.1 yards a pop each time he got there. That's an efficient running game by a running back. Early in the game was gashing them, killing them. Even some passes he caught from out of the backfield. Even Kenny Gainwell had some good runs in that game. The team could be got on the ground. Even Smitty early on in the game, 5 catches for 50 yards, caught all 5 of his passes. Solid game. But once that second half hit, I don't know, and this is the question for me, and maybe you can help me. I don't know if it's play calling or if it's Jalen Hurts regression. Because let's be real about it, people. If you look at Jalen Hurts from last year into Jalen Hurts to this year, I wouldn't sit there and fight and argue that there's been regression. I would more so lean to the fact of how much regression and is it fixable. And when I look at that statement or that question, and I hate even giving this because I like to actually be definitive in what I think, but I do believe both things can play a part. Both things can play a part. Because I go back to, what is that, 2020. I believe that was the year Jalen. Yes, 2020. When Nick Sirianni was the offensive coordinator and head coach and were calling plays each and every Sunday. And the offense just looked stale, stagnant, pretty much like right now. Not much motion, not much creativity in the routes developments, not any short routes to be the extension of the run game. And then he gave up play calling to Shane Steichen. And then you see, okay, we got some motion here. Okay, incorporate, read option comes. ride it inside and get rid of it quick, make a quick decision. Let's just get the ball into playmakers' hands. Let's just get them going. Fast forward to this year, I don't know who's calling it. Because you hear things that Nick Sirianni is the master of all things. He creates the offensive plan. He basically he takes input from his other coaches, but he basically sets up what's being done and what's going to be ran on Sundays, and that's the sheet that Brian Johnson's going to call from. But then, like I said, Brian Johnson is the offensive coordinator calling the plays, so it got to be some other plays in the playbook that you'll have on that sheet that's not a quarterback draw left or right or bubble screens to the wide receivers on the side. When you got Devontae Smith that's literally 130 pounds soaking wet being your lead blocker for the bigger receiver in Julio Jones or A.J. Smith or Dallas Goedert. Stop running the ball in the second half, which was so effective. I just read the numbers. 18 carries for 74 yards, 4.1 yards a pop. And that's not even doing it justice, because if you watch the game, you seen Swift was killing them. Stop running the ball or stop giving him the ball. So you mean to tell me he couldn't end the game with 24 carries? Like 6 more carries really going to hurt him? No way. No way. This offense is not good. Even when all the news came out about the switching of the defensive coordinator, I kept telling people, this isn't, forget that. The defense is going to be who they're going to be. They're not going to get no younger. They're not going to get no faster. This offense can't score. Again, red zone appearances. Can't score. 17 points against the Seattle Seahawks? 17 points? That's all you could score, and you got most of that in the first half? So you mean tell me for a whole half you couldn't score the freaking touchdown on the Seattle Seahawks, who are not the 49ers and who are not the Dallas Cowboys, as much as we talk about them and their defense? A disgrace. Again, is it Nick? Is it Brian? Is it Jalen? I believe all plays a part. And let's break it down. Let's start with Jalen Hurts. That's going to start with there. It's going to start there with Jalen Hurts. Is there regression? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to argue how much, we can argue that. But I'm not going to argue the fact that there's been regression in his game this year. There's absolutely been regression in Jalen Hurts' play this year. Not saying it's not fixable. Not saying things can't be corrected. That last play of the game, we needed, 12 to 15 yards with about 25, 26 seconds left. 2 timeouts left. All you need is a field goal to tie the game. And you throw a bomb into double coverage to A.J. Brown, where it essentially turns into an interception, game over. When in that same sequence, you have, I believe it was Kenny Gainwell, who was the running back at the time, who leaked out for the check down. And when they showed the overview picture, the whole defense is on the right side of the field. Kenny Gainwell standing on the left with a beeline to a touchdown. Granted, it's still football. People are fast. So I'm not going to even say it would have been a touchdown. But what did I say earlier in this? We needed 12, 13, 14 yards to get in field goal range for probably one of the best kickers in or if not the best, one of the best kickers in the NFL with Jake Elliott to tie it up to go to overtime. This is why I say there's been regression, but then there's also been coaching and play calling. Let's get to the coaching. Nick Sirianni is this head coach of this Philadelphia football franchise. And not only he's the head coach, he's an offensive guy. So he's with the quarterback. He's with the offense more than the defense every day. What are you teaching this man? I know there's an organizational philosophy that we want to be explosive. But do we have to literally take that term explosive and overdo it? Yes, you can be explosive. The Miami Dolphins are explosive. The Chiefs can be explosive if their wide receivers catch the ball. The 49ers are explosive. The Dallas Cowboys can be explosive. The Lions can be explosive or have explosive plays. I get it. I understand it. It's entertainment. You want a wild touchdowns make ratings go up, make more people want to watch. I get it. No one wants to watch 60s and 70s and 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I get it because I love it too. But you can always set up the exploit. That's what all those teams do. They set up the explosive play. Again, y'all don't want to run the ball. I get it. But y'all sick of the old people saying it. And I said it before, running the ball is always going to be essential in football. That's what it was made up of. Opposing your will. But I get it. You don't want to run the ball a lot. I get it. Short passes, screens, swing routes, angle routes, slants, crossers, comebacks, 10-yard digs. It's a lot of things you can do in the rounds. It's a lot of things you can do to be the extension of the run game. Just get the ball into your playmakers' hands. And they don't have to always be 15 to 20 yards down the field every time. That's the issue. That's why I say coaching and play calling plays in this as well. This is what's being taught. It's either Jalen is sitting there predetermining at pre-snap where he's going with the ball instead of looking at and scanning the field and seeing what's going on, or even the play call itself is coming in as him already cutting half of the field off, meaning once the ball is hiked, his job is to look at one person or one side of the field from the start because that's where the certain route combinations are happening at. And you will see a lot of those things when they do the RPO, when they'll do the RPO, and you've seen it where he'll do it and you have Dallas Goddard leak out, but the RPO is going that way as well. So you get a lot of moving parts where then you can dump it off behind the man coming up thinking you're about to run the ball. That's what I mean about cutting the field in half. But somewhere somebody has to see these things and correct them. You can't keep coming to each press conference talking about not living to the standard. We have to look ourselves in the mirror. We have to sit here and execute. Everyone isn't execute. You can't keep doing this. It's 15 weeks into the season. You're still trying to get it together? Because again, this ain't been happening recently. This has been this offense all year. It's just that early in the year, the talent has superseded the deficiencies. Jalen Hurts was playing excellent early on in the game. A.J. Brown was an MVP candidate early in the season. So the talent was risen, obviously during a time when people are fresher, more conditioned, not as beat up, not as hurt. But we all know what late in the season and playoffs is all about. It's about coaching and schematics. You got to have the talent, obviously, to be able to back it up because that's obviously the defense fault. But what's the excuse for the offense? What's the excuse for the offense? They have everyone playing. Yes, they were missing Cam Jurgens, who's the right guard last night. But what was the issue? You have everyone healthy. You have A.J. Brown. You have Julio Jones, Quez Watkins, Adamake Zacchaeus, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Kenny Gainwell, DeAndre Swift, Boston Scott. The best offensive line in the NFL. It's unacceptable by this team. It's unacceptable by this team to lose to the Seattle Seahawks, knowing you have to win this game. You have to win out for the best chances for the number 1 seed. Kiss that goodbye. That's done. That's finished. The number 1 seed is done. The 49ers have secured that because there's no way they're losing out. Even if they was to lose one, they would still have more wins than the Eagles. And even if we was to somehow tie, they would still hold the tiebreaker. So that's done. The only chance we had was for them to lose and we went out. Lose one game and we went out. That's done. Now we're sitting there fighting for the NFC division, which we will host a home game. But guess what? We are now currently sitting in the 5th seed. The Philadelphia Eagles are currently, who were 10-1 at one point in this season, are the 5th seed going into the playoffs, potentially having to play the Detroit Lions, who, no matter how you feel, they show up, they don't show up at times, they're always going to fight. They're always going to be resilient. They're going to, and has a better quarterback, so they're going to put up points. Or the Dallas Cowboys, who now you have to see for a 3rd time. That, again, all these teams, no matter who we play, I believe, are going to put up points on this defense because the defense is who they're going to be. But this offense, you win games, you win playoffs, and you win championships in today's NFL with offense. Offense. That's what you win in this game with. Offense. This game is set up for the offense. This game is set up for the offense to succeed. This game is set up for the offense to make this game exciting. The game is set up for this offense to score a lot of points, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. The name of the game of the NFL is offense. The Eagles have issues. They have and again, this is not all on Jalen, but he plays a part. Missing throws, not reading the field, making some bad decisions at times. Because there was one earlier in the game as well. Down the field, the ball, and you got got men running across the middle of the field wide open. I'm not not absolving Jalen, but this is where I go into where's the coaching. Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni. Nick, you say you're not calling plays. So what are you going to do? Your team's still not ready. You're the head coach. We should not be in the red zone driving, and your team is still committing penalties to push us back out of the red zone. Another false start by Jason Kelly. Granted, feel like it was a phantom call. Or a very slight movement to where it was just a part where the line is just getting adjusted to get ready to run the play. But again, another penalty that backs you up, that takes 7 off the board, and now you're forced to kick a field goal. Play calling, same old. We're going to go back and look. Started the game off, running the ball, short little routes, slant routes, cross routes. Why do we start the game the exact way we supposed to play, but then when the second half come, you go back to the nonsense? Draw left, draw right with Jalen. If Jalen was so sick coming into this game Not COVID, not flu, but flu-like symptoms, body weak, gotta keep him hydrated, gotta keep him stimulated, gotta keep him eating, keep this energy up to be able to did all this to go into this game to play, and he still runs the ball 13 times. Granted, some of them was scrambles that he had to do, but you still ran the ball 13 times with your sick quarterback. Wouldn't common sense say, hey, let's take some pressure off our quarterback tonight who's probably running a fever, who had chills the other night, whose bodies were aching, who had to catch a freaking separate plane to get to the same destination because you didn't want to risk him contaminating or other teammates catching what he has. But you run the ball 13 times with them. When you have capable running backs who are actually having good games. You have a tight end and a one wide receiver who are having good games. I'm not understanding the logic, and they call us dumb. They call us not knowing the game, not smart enough to understand it. Listen, I know I don't have all the computers, all the manpower and workers that sit there all day on computers looking up stats and analytics and testing blood and got the trackers on the team and checking their oxygen levels and checking how much exhaustion that they use, how much tea they need to drink and all that stuff. I know I have all that, but my eyes work very well when I watch TV. It works very well. You ain't doing nothing. The offense is not doing anything special. The offense is the same old crap. Three wide receivers, one running back in the shotgun formation. We're gonna run Jaden left or right, or we're gonna throw bubble screens left or right. That's why I say this all parties involved in that offense plays a part. What's being taught and what's being called is the biggest culprits for me. And it's sad because there's nothing you can even do about it going forward. Nothing you can do about it going forward. Brian Johnson will still be the OC the rest of the season. Nick Sirianni will still be the head coach of this. And I'm not calling for jobs, not Nick's at least. But that OC spot, oh, that got to change quick. That has to be broken up. The Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson relationship. Say this again. The Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson relationship has to end. Unless you're telling me that those things that we heard that he's, strapped or bogged down to what he actually can do with them, and that this is an organizational decision that this is how we want to run our offense, and he really can't do anything about it, and if he had the opportunity, he would do some things different, then that's a bigger issue than what we have on the field. But I can't lean towards that too much because then you have a guy like Shane Steichen who was here, and he was tops in the leagues in red zone last year, if not top 5. So how you come from tops in the leagues in red zone efficiency literally last year, to literally at the bottom? The offense is literally in the bottom 5, if not the last team in every offensive major statistical category this season. Red zone scoring, red zone efficiency, stuff like that, passes. Yeah. This was a very, very disappointing, frustrating, and I've never been this upset in a while either, because I've learned to, detach myself for putting that much, energy and burden and emotion into a game like this, especially when you got them being millionaires and literally when they're done the game, they're laughing, going home to their $1 million mansions or condos or whatever it is that they live in. So I'm never going to sit there and put that much emotion into a game when, the players don't. And nothing wrong with that. They're making a living playing the game, making millions. So I ain't mad at it. I'm just saying I'm not going to put that much energy into it, stress myself out over it, even though at times it gets that way. And these are one of those moments because this is totally unacceptable what they did last night. Totally unacceptable what they did. And as fans, we deserve better. Call us crazy, they call us dramatic, they call us over the top. But look what you put on the field. How can anyone accept this? And how can you sit here and look me in my face and tell me I'm wrong at what I'm seeing on the field? Yes, individually, you have individual players out there that do well. But as a team, you have not lived up to the standard that you guys speak of on the daily. This team has issues that I'm not even sure can even be fixed. We have 4 games left, 3 games left, 2 against the Giants, 1 against the Cardinals, that aren't just easy games anymore. When your offense can't even put up 17 points, when your offense is, for the most part, being put out here that's being predictable, on top of your defense can't stop a nosebleed, doesn't look good going into got 3 weeks to figure it out. Got 3 weeks to get it to the best of your ability as far as production-wise as you can, because the playoffs, what Jim Morris say? Playoffs? Playoffs? Yeah, we'll be in there. We already clinched. What we doing there? You got the Lions first. You got Dallas first. You cannot sit here and definitively say, oh, you're not worried about that. You're nuts. You're nuts if you're not. Just lost to the Seahawks, to a backup quarterback who found out he was playing the day of for the most part. He might have had an inkling of throughout the week that he might not play, but literally knowing he wasn't playing to the day of. You got your starting quarterback out there. And if he's sick, if he's that sick that he couldn't play, don't put him out there. But he was out there. Your offense put up 17 points. Your offense put up 17 points. Now you're going into the playoffs, got to play someone like that first. And if you were lucky enough to even make it to the NFC Championship game, because now you got 3 games to play. It ain't just 2. Now if you even make it to the NFC Championship game, then you're talking about going out to San Francisco and trying to beat San Francisco in San Francisco. Good luck with that. There's no way you can go into the playoffs feeling good about this team. There's no way. So, Sean Desai, Matt Patricia, the change was there. DC, good. Maybe things will get better. But this offense, Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, I'm not sure about that going forward. Been preaching this, screaming this from the mountaintop all year. Yeah, I love the wins just like everyone else. But the offense wasn't moving like it needed to move. It wasn't moving like last year. There weren't different things creatively. All I see is draw plays every day. Draw plays, not every day, every week. Draw plays and bubble screens. That's all I see. Draw plays, bubble screens, and take your deep shot. Yeah, questionable calls during that game. Yeah, it was a holding on Quez Watkins. But why are you throwing it to Quez? What has Quez Watkins shown you this year to believe that he could go get a ball like that, a 50-50 ball up in the air, and you throw it? And on that play alone, Gus, you had an under route coming across the field that was wide open where we threw it to Quez. Decision making from Jalen again. Play calling once again. And again, no one wants to talk about it but Nick Sirianni. If you're not going to get your guys prepared, mentally prepared, fundamentally prepared for each game, still having turnovers, what are you here for? Again, not calling for the man's job because he has good qualities. But if those qualities aren't there and you have an OC that's inept inept to do what needs to be done with all this. You put this talent on any, and I know y'all hate it, you put this talent on any other team or with any other coach. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, Dallas Goedert. You put this team with the San Francisco, with Kyle Shanahan. You put them with Andy Reid. You put them with Sean McVay. You put them with what's the face down in Miami? The head coach down in Miami. You put them with Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. Before Anthony Richardson got hurt this year, the Indianapolis Colts was on their way to a playoff in Shane Steichen's first year. Coaching, play calling. Coaching, play calling. Coaching, play calling. The playoffs is won with coaching. The playoffs is won with great quarterback play. The playoffs is won with no turnovers. The playoffs is won with a fundamentally sound team. The playoffs is won with who wants it more. The playoffs is won with fight, with grit. And this team does not display that. And we've been seeing it for weeks now. And if you don't want to say early on this season, cool. But I'll tell you one thing, this last month, they haven't been displaying it. It's displaying it at the wrong time of the year. When you need to be gearing up, getting better to enter into the playoffs, we're trending in the wrong direction. Trending in the wrong direction. That's what I got for y'all today, man. I appreciate y'all coming, stepping into the room, stepping into the gym. Eagles, man. Not sure what to think. I can tell you right now, though, the playoffs, winning in the playoffs, winning a championship, a Super Bowl, can't see it. Can't see it right now. I put them in the same boat I got the Sixers in right now. Who's been playing well, by the way? Got to show me. I ain't don't believe until you show me. That whole boisterous running around, we the best in the NFL. Nope. Not even the best in our conference anymore. Nope. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen, man. I appreciate y'all stepping into the gym once again, man. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all like, comment, and share this show. Let's get to 100 subscribers, people. Let's keep this train moving, man. Help me help you bring more and more content to you. Make sure you check my latest episode. I was with Jalen Carter during his Christmas bash giveaway to young youth in the Philadelphia area, the Philadelphia Island Eagles youth football team. We had a good time there. Make sure y'all check that out. Quick little snippets and just recap what I did there. Again, make sure y'all check out SeatGeek once again as well. I'm your boy AB, man. This is Open Gym, and I see y'all next time. Yes, sir.